On the 17th of January 1967, the world was blessed with me. Today is my birthday. And I'm doing this live video because a couple people asked me, say something on your birthday now. So, having nothing prepared, I was paying attention to what is passing in the conversations on the threads on WhatsApp. And first of all, before I go any further, I want to thank each and every one of you who took the time to tell me happy birthday. This is not an invitation to tell you all to write happy birthday on the thread now. Save that, because then the whole comment section going to blow up into happy birthdays, and as read the comments after to see what matter to them. So I don't want 65,000 happy birthdays. I just want to say thank you to all the people who wished me happy birthday. To my detractors and to my haters, thank you also for sitting and fuming and making me feel so important. The fear that you have gives me energy, energizes me. One of the things I wanted to talk about is the PRO wars. I don't know if you all have been paying attention, but today, newly installed UNC PRO, Kirk Megu, Dr. Kirk Megu, took a swipe at not a Dr. Laura Lizama Lising about her role as a recipient, alleged, in the Joan Yule Williams Scholarship Fund, the secret PNM Scholarship Fund as it was revealed to the public, and that Devant Maraj, through the Freedom of Information, made public. And at the end of it all, a recommendation was made that Joan should be taken before the Director of Public Prosecutions, that the matter of the secret scholarship fund under Patrick Manning was a criminal act. Now, Dr. Kirk Megu, UNC PRO, mentioned that when he was talking about Stuart Young and the PNM giving 14 children used laptops. The same government, the same PNM that took Kamla Prasad Bisesa to task for spending taxpayers' funds to provide 95,000 children with brand new laptops. Now, the PNM will tell its followers that your children coming home with rat hole, moth-eaten, used, booger on the circuit board laptops because the government is trying to save money. But that's bullshit. The government is not trying to save money. The government is just trying to spend the money by their friends and financiers, and they don't think that you deserve better or your children don't deserve better than a used laptop. Because if the government was trying to save money, Faris wouldn't be getting the rent. Faris and his family wouldn't be enjoying the rent they're getting for those 2 buildings on Alexandra Street that we're still not using at all. Speaking of which, tomorrow is the 18th of January, and I want Faris, the Nahus family, and the Ministry of Public Administration to hear us coming. The 16th was the deadline for the ministry to provide us in the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago, the fastest growing activist organization in this country's history, to provide us with information that we requested under the Freedom of Information Act all those months ago. Now, when the Freedom of Information request expired 6 weeks after we sent it, we sent them a pre-action protocol letter warning them that should they fail up until the 16th of January, and we've been patient. The 16th of January was yesterday. Tomorrow is the 18th of January. I want them to know we are taking them before the courts. We are not going to stop until we find out what exactly did the Ministry of Public Administration spend $20 million on in a building that couldn't cost $20 million to build. I'm not saying it didn't cost $20 million to build. I mean, you could get receipts and you could get quotes and you could get just about anything from anybody in this corrupt country where customs and excise now starring for the bacchanal that going on 9:30 in the morning. You have to sign and say it was overtime so they could get more money and all kind of bullshit. $500 to bring your documents up. That is a broken and corrupt PNM nation, and this is what we need to deal with. And I'm going to come right back to where I was trying to go. Now, when Dr. Kirk Megu swiped at not a Dr. Laurel Lizama Liseng, what Dr. Kirk Megu was inferring that not a doctor nor a lawyer, Laurel Lizama Liseng, who apparently, allegedly, it is rumored the documents are supposed to contain that not a doctor or a lawyer, possibly a hairdresser, Laurel Lizama Liseng, she got $500,000 to go to the University of London to study law. And apparently, allegedly, what is rumored and contained in that document that was published in the media and all over social media for years is that not a doctor nor a lawyer, possibly a janitor, Laurel Lizama Liseng, PNM PRO, whose claim to fame is she married the son of former member for life and mayor of Port of Spain, Louis Liseng, that not a doctor nor a lawyer or anything of real substance, Laurel Lizama Liseng, has a responsibility now that she has threatened, because this is what her response was, to threaten Dr. Kirk Megu with a lawsuit. She said she's noted what he and other members of the UNC have said and that it's in the hands of her attorneys. Now, I want to remind not a doctor, not a lawyer, not sure what she is, Laurel Lizama Liseng, about a famous line from the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Tuco, when he was in the bathtub, and the gringo came to shoot him, gave him a big long spiel, and Tuco shot the gringo. He said to him, when you come to shoot, shoot. Don't talk. Don't put out no release that it's in your hands, it's in the hands of your lawyers. Send Dr. Kirk Megu a pre-action protocol letter, because Laurel, not a doctor or a lawyer, Lizama Liseng, may not be aware that the truth is an absolute defense in a defamation case. And if it is true that not a doctor nor a lawyer, Laurel Lizama Liseng, did not finish her degree and so did not serve the mandatory service that all scholarships are supposed to demand, but this was a secret PNM scholarship fund, so it may not have required that she served, but Kirk referred to it because everywhere else in the civilized, law-abiding world, if the state takes taxpayers' money, $500,000 of taxpayers' funds to give you to go to school to become a lawyer, you have two obligations. One, become a lawyer, and two, come back and work for the state. I know, because my nephew is a scholarship-winning, island scholarship-winning lawyer who is working out his responsibilities in the Attorney General's office now. He is sought after, he is wanted by all of the big law firms, but he can't move until he finish work out his responsibility to the state for the scholarship that he got that paid for his law degree. So this is what I want to say to Laurel Lizama Liseng. Prove Dr. Kirk Megu, published author. Prove him wrong. Post your degree. Send it to me. I'll send it viral. Show us your degree, Laurel. Save us the double talk about it in the hands of your attorneys. If you did receive public funds for a scholarship to go to law school in London, where is the degree? And have you given back to the people of this country service like my nephew is doing now? And I could say this because they could fire him, it doesn't matter. All of the biggest law firms want him. He is a certified mediator. He is running up the charts. Unlike Faris Al-Rawi, he's a real lawyer. He's brilliant, he's bright. He won scholarships at common entrance level. He will land on his feet here and everywhere in the Commonwealth. No pocket square required. And I want to say this to the entire PNM. We want the PNM party out of office. We want to rescue everybody in this country, including PNM members and PNM supporters who have been fooled by a PNM education into believing that what is passing for government under this maladministration is fair or just or right. I want them to know. I see a couple UNC people who would rather I not join the UNC, trying to put pepper and say, but look Phillip talking about the thing going and fail. I want to tell you something. I never signed on to be a sycophant for any party. I never asked anybody to be a sycophant to the PEP when I was leading it. I believe political involvement requires you to tell the emperor what you think of his or her clothes. And if you cannot do that, you are not a supporter, you're a fanatic. And I will never be anybody's fanatic. Moving forward. Trinidad and Tobago is a rotten, rat hole, latrine pit, shithole of what should have been Eden. We've destroyed the best country on the planet, situated the only Caribbean territory outside of the hurricane belt. Trinidad and Tobago had oil, cocoa, sugar, the second hottest pepper. It was the hottest pepper on the planet for a while, the best cocoa in the world. We have the oldest old-growth forest in Tobago. We have the only nylon pool on the planet, the largest pitch lake in the world. We have the largest brain coral in the world. I mean, Trinidad and Tobago has an embarrassment of riches, blighted by the People's National Movement. The worst thing to ever happen to a human being is to go to a doctor and he look them in their face and say, sorry, it's cancer. On August 31st, 1962, Trinidad came down with something called PNM. We've had some interventions, some massive chemotherapy. In 1986, we did a massive removal and we got a lot of the tumor out, but there was some wild cells that was able to reinstigate an invasion from the other side, and by 1991, that revolution was over. So Trinidad is fighting with a diagnosis of PNM. PNM. Destroying this country. Destroying it. There is nothing that anybody on this thread could tell me, Phillip, this is still good. I have people who message me. There are some people who say, Phillip, why are you not answering? There is nothing I could say after I say that you need to talk to your MP. You need to go to the minister's office. You need to do like me, put on your shoes and your pants and your shirt, get a sign, and go outside the Prime Minister's office and say, fire yourself. Because I've done that for years. I've been the kind of activist that don't just talk the talk, I've walked the talk. I've stood firm, I've resisted any attempts to buy me. I have ignored threats to silence me. I have been dealing with all manner of attempts to quiet me through the courts and defamation lawsuits, and that's a tool of the PNM. And I want to say this to Kamala Prasad Bisesa again. What always held you in my esteem, Kamala, was that you are more man than anybody in the PNM. You have more balls, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, than this jackass joker of a prime minister and his band of malcontents. And I believe that Keith Rowley wants, more than anything else, a pair of Kamala's panties. Because the PNM is so preoccupied with Kamala Persad Bissessar that Keith Rowley is not going to be satisfied until he is in possession of one of her panties. I believe so. His focus on her cat and grooming pastures and all of that bullshit makes me believe that Keith Rowley have total bay for Kamala. He want that Indian bad. I feel so. Keith just go to sleep every night dreaming of Kamala Persad Bissessar. That is why her name always in her mouth, in his mouth. And you know what killing him? What has caused men like him to get fufunu and go and drink Gramazone is that Kamala don't have he to study. She don't call his name. She don't take him on. She may talk about something else. She used the word blank man in an election. They want to say, she say black man just to make it about Rowley. Rowley need to be valid in Kamala's world so badly that in Tobago, where the UNC not contesting the THA election, THA still talking UNC because it's Fufunu. Fufunu is a state way beyond Tabanka, you know. Fufunu is when they go and get rope and hang themselves. And that is what the Auditor General found. Keith Rowley's rope. And maybe the Auditor General saved Rowley's life by seizing that rope. Somebody needs to check in on Keith Rowley regularly now. Because Kamala has taken all of the blows. And now she is rising back to glory. Because I and others have chosen Kamala Persad Bissessar. I give that UNC government more stick than the PNM could ever get or take. And I have never had anything like a pre-action protocol letter from anybody. I created something called the Jack Awards and used to hit Jack Warner every month. Anybody that make a mess in public life qualify for a Jack Award. And that was because of Jack and the little boy who come out of the forest and he gave him a FIFA watch. I want to tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. Kamala Persad Bissessar and her team, instead of pre-action protocol letters, would reach out and say, hey, I like that one hit me. Rudal Modilal used to do that. You come good with that one. You come good with that one. PNM, afraid. You know why? They have plenty thing to hide. A day will come when Phillip Edward Alexander will have parliamentary privilege. You could almost hear that clock ticking. They could run, they could hide. Stuart Young, don't dig no hole for nobody. You know you like to fall down. You know you're going to fall in one of them holes you're digging for people. You ain't going to be able to get out. You could damage yourself permanently this time. You is the last man, Stuarty boy. I hear you went up in Morva and fall down in that next hole. That is 3 times, brother. 3 times. I think God trying to tell you something. Stuarty. I think God trying to tell you something. The country is falling apart. PNM members are suffering. PNM supporters are suffering. I am reaching out to PNM supporters tonight. I want you to hear me. You all have seen me. This is 26 years I have been fighting for the betterment of this country. 26 years I have fed the poor every single year. My son grew up is every Christmas day feeding homeless people in town, the majority of whom, when Keith Scotland came down, because he's MP now, so now that he in the politics, and I have no problem with Keith Scotland, but now that he's in the politics, I never see him there on a Christmas morning before. Joel Martinez built a gate and locked the people inside. We're still going down there to feed them. Still going down there to feed them. Louis Lee had warned me when he was in mayor. He said, don't feed them poor people in town. We went and feed them in Woodford Square outside his office. We tell him, yeah. He come outside and he say, all right, go and feed them by Besson Street. That was the terms. I want you to understand, to the PNM supporters, I have been fighting for the homeless for the orphans, for the disadvantaged. I have gotten so much relief for so many of you all from the outside. I'm calling on the PNM supporters tonight, and from tonight, this is my mission. I want to rescue Morvan, Beetham, Lavantel, and Sealots from the PNM. And you all know my word good, because you all see I faced down all kind of fight down. I faced down all kind of bacchanal. I faced down all kind of threat, and I have stood firm. And I continue to stand and fight for people in this country. And I want the PNM members and supporters to hear me. Ignore those who pulling at you and telling you, no, stay with PNM. Them getting paid. Them getting 3 and 4 CPEP contract. And them don't care about if your family eating, you know. Them don't care. As long as them getting rich. I feel like getting nice. They driving a little fancy car. They have 3 cars on the road. Fellas driving for them. They're building bar and hardware. And they're coming to come. But they're building that on your suffering. Because when the PNM have to take money and give them to fool you, they have to take more from you. I am calling on the PNM supporters and members to hear my words. I am giving you my word tonight. I want your support. I am going to take it to the United National Congress, and I am going to tell them I want to bring Morva, Beetham, Lavantel, and Sealots back into the family of this country. I want to be the person that you give responsibility for redeveloping those communities and bringing those people not to sell their properties and abandon their properties to the 1%, but to redevelop Morva, Beetham, Lavantel, and Sealots into East Morins that will make West Morins blush. I want your support. To the PNM members and supporters, I am not Fitzgerald Hines. I am not Colm Imbert. I am not Stuart Young. I am not Franklin Khan. I am not Rohan Sinanan. When I talk, you could bank it. I have given 26 years of my 54 years of life serving my country for free. I could have easily jumped into any party and fed on my own nest. Not one of them bright like me. Not one of them pretty like me. I could say that I have done this. Am I cool? I cool. I am 54 today. And I want to tell you that the mission now is to rescue Diego Martin West. Diego Martin West from Bagatelle, Covey, Rich Plain, Mason, Saganga, La Puerta. It is to go down Abi Pujad, Big Yard, and to rescue Diego Martin West. It's to rescue Diego Martin Central from Patna all the way down to Cocorita Waterhole. It's to rescue Diego Martin Northeast. Every single community up in Paramin that has been abandoned, a couple people in your community getting handled at election time to make you all vote a PNM that has only come up there at election time. I want you to trust me because you have nobody else. You cannot trust the PNM. If it is one thing the People's National Movement has shown people in this country is that you cannot trust them, that their promises never materialize. Unless you're a financier or a big contractor, you could get land down in West Park, Savannah, to put up your fancy little roundabout building, to come and build a overpass that nobody in Diego Martin need or want. But you could take that $500 million and buy laptops for the poor people, children, who trying, who struggling, who family had to go and print out paper and bring it for the children to try and keep up with the rest of the country. Oh, Christ, PNM, oh, they have no heart, boy. When you see poor people, what you think about them? There is a nasty undercurrent in that party that seems to dislike poor people. And I want to say to the members and supporters of the People's National Movement, people could tell you anything about me. My back broad, my skin like alligator. They could say what they want, and they've been saying what they want. But they will never tell you. Let's go back on my word. All my haters, my detractors, the ones that come into the PEP and leave, go and ask them. Go and ask them. They have a decent bone in their body. They will tell you, Phillip Edward Alexander don't go back on his word. Philip Edward Alexander is a man of integrity. It matters to me. It matters to me the kind of man that I am. It matters to me. And if I tell you that I will fight for you, I will not stop until we accomplish what we set out to accomplish. I am telling the PNM supporters and members tonight, I am building a movement. I am building a movement to focus on PNM constituencies. I am building a movement to start walking in your constituencies. The Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago, one of the things that we pledge is to eradicate poverty in Trinidad and Tobago. We want you to stand with us. Unlike the rest of those politicians with the convent girl accents, them shirt and tie bandits that only show up at the election time, sniffing, food sharing. Okay, guess some? Them, unlike them, the election done, we lost, but we fight a good fight. Did we disappear? No. We took a couple days off, we licked our wounds, and we formed the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. Since then, we've saved multiples of people's houses from rapacious financial institutions. We've rescued people from very terrible situations. We've helped people bury their dead. We've been active on the ground with organizations that supposed to have union representation that don't do nothing for them, and making sure that their members get taken care of and dealt with properly. We will ensure that this country ends up with a livable wage. Join the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. We will ensure that no community is left behind in this country. That is my promise to you at 54 years old on my birthday. The only reason for me doing this is to tell poor people in this country, especially those who've been hoodwinked and tricked by the PNM. This is not government. This is not representation. You are not supposed to be suffering, so people are not supposed to be begging to come back home. We have enough facilities, step up and step down. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars on taxpayers' money turning tennis court into rescue place, and now you're telling people that I spend $30,000 to stay in your friend hotel. Bring our people home. Nasty, nasty people in this PNM. Bring our people home. Nasty people. Even the media can hide, and they're telling you dark days coming. Where's the plan for the farmers? It is the farmers to save this country. Start to give the farmers support, not just your friends and financiers who are giving farmland to build gas station and mall on. Go and find the genuine, authentic farmers and help them. Give them. They don't want your money. They want protection against predial larceny. They want the pumps to work. They want water. Give them that. Give them markets so that they could sell their produce to the people without having to go and sell all to Massey for it to double and triple in price. Give the farmers is our job right now. Right now, as I always told you all for years, the two most important people in any country is the farmers and the teachers. And look how that come to be pure reality. How everything that I have ever said became reality. I know, rent a psychic. I just know how to follow what is going on. What are the outcomes of actions? The PNM actions are to loot this country. Your Prime Minister, Keith Rowley, said the morning after he was re-elected in that farce of an election, that his job is to make the rich richer. He said he's the Prime Minister of the 1%. I want to be the minister of the other 99%. I want to be the man that lifts everybody in this country out of poverty. We don't have to have one person poor in Trinidad and Tobago. It's too easy to name, blame, and shame people. It is time for us to get real representation. And I want the members and the supporters of the People's National Movement to hear me. This is hope. This is a call to hope. This is not time for you to lose hope. Stand firm. Join the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. You all know me. When you see me outside, as your friend and as your family, and his hug up and bounce and all his old talk. Okay, stand with me now. Abandon Balize House. Abandon it. The people in control of Balize House They're not PNM members. They're not PNM supporters. They don't live Morvan, Beetham, Lavantel, and Silots. They don't know what La Hokata look like. They don't know what Abi Pujar and Big Yard and Scorpion and Never Dirty and Gonzales and Beverly Hills look like. They never went down and back of there and train line. They don't know what poverty in this country. Edinburgh 500. You think any of them that owning and operating and controlling the PNM know what those people's lives are like? It is time. It is time. The Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago will give you a voice, I promise you. It is the only reason we do it. It is a union of citizens. Our job is to protect all. Yeah? To those of you who spent some time with me on my birthday, I really, really appreciate it. To the rest of Trinidad and Tobago, I say tonight, do not lose hope. There is a political process, and your voice and my voice together will change the way politics is done in Trinidad and Tobago. Let us work together, stand together. When our numbers are sufficient, we cannot be ignored. Until tomorrow, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.